Session with the portrait of His Holiness, the 14th Dalai Lama, is being brought from the residence of His Holiness Gyalwa Tsangyang at Tungtengzi, and is being accompanied by the Honorable Chief Minister of Arunachal Pradesh. The portrait of His Holiness, the 14th Dalai Lama, is being installed on the throne. And this will be followed by the mandala of dignitaries.
Simultaneously, the offering of lamp is also going on. With this offering of mandala to His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama, I'd like to inform that this program is also in the continuous program of the 90th celebration of the 90th birthday of His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama.
Tenzin Bulo Shindu Dunpa Yi Dunpa Yunji Nebe Daji Dong Ni Nin Ji Zong Do Jiu Bei Lang Ji Ji Se Ji Gang Ji Dan Zhu Cha Na Bei Mo Tenzin Gyatso Lao So Wan De So Xie Du Lun Ge Yo.
After this Mangal Charan, now I'd like to welcome all of you once again on behalf of the organizing committee as well as the people of Manyul to the first ever international conference on the cultural and historical significance of His Holiness, the 6th Dalai Lama Gyalwa Tsangyang Gyatso.
Thiring Jilu Nidong Gyami Nihzenga Jinda Junibe Si Sumning Risal Hakba Gyewe Laka Nin Pakwa Jere Sui Namju Gyalwa Jupsiba Chimbu Cho Gongzhang Gubju Pepe Chamzi Lu Songzi Dang Lakwa Gyalwa Gongjin Chukba Renjin Tsangyang Gyatso Cho Jigding Miyu Du Siba Sungwe Cui Xi Ne Zhangjia Sumjia Xiju Xingyi Kuwe Tuzhen Zhexi Yangzhen Ji Tuisang Tir Arunachal Ngadi Churi Liangang Tang Mun Tuden Xie Zhu Ling CCRG Chokba Sum Tumu Yi Kujiwa Yeji Gyalwa Tsangyang Gyatso Ximju Sondu Xi Luju Rengxin Denbe Chok Jin Di Tanda Gyalwa Renqin Tsangyang Gyatso Cho Yi Chung Xi Beiyu Gemu Zhong Mun Tawang Yu Yi Gala Wang Bui Chogang Nang Gazhu Kuiwen Ngang Wuzu Xiu Ge Yu Thiring Tiga Qidu Jiangbe Bandian Gandian Puzhang Yi Chongji Yangdian Rinpoche Cho Yube Ken Rinpoche Namba Yemne Gindun Ki Di Yong Tang Arungaje Ngadi Jijeb Lunjin Gushe Bema Kanchu Yube Sanne Ki Neyu Mina Namba Sajua Kangsane Pepe Puribe Keba Tang Yemxi Ba Sana Yi Chokjia Wa Yong La Samji Zheshi Dili Shu Chunba Lik Tine Thiringi Zerim Ka Nyenju Shu Ge Yin Zerim Tangbune Shiba Pa Chuba Che Zerim Aba Lama Ra Mun Tupden Xie Zhu Ling Chok Du Kuji Chok Jung Yi Chok Zu Zhugu Denzi Yumi Rinpoche Cho Gi Chong Du Ngo Du Dang Zhiwei Song Xie Neng Yu
I'd like to request the President Tupten Sherupling Foundation and also the Chairman of the organizing committee, Venerable Tulku Tenzin Gyurme Rinpoche La, for the introduction to the symposium and invocation.
Omo Jamben Dorje Ngala Wanjur Ji Lode Bumza Yi Ji Dizi Tenzin Janje Rozo Zebin Pajo Chenang Boy Moran Jimbo Boy Nidu Tsone Lao Yildu Dam Rizi Drubi Gowa Tunbor Xie Rikpe Dulshu Jebe Dulje Rinjin Tsangyang Gyatso Chenbang Boy Iwo Chi Nazo Medo Dijin Dube Nazo Dijos Wei Xiam Yi Zhu Qi Jin Gyatso Se Nam Xin Zhu Ji Lan Chenbang
Kangri Ravikowe Shingamsu Penda Dewa Malu Chungwene Chere Sewa Tenzi Gyatso Yi Shabe Sede Badu Tenju Chi She Choba Choba Ngundo Tangde Ladan Chebe Chowa Yongi Gwenjab Ladama Cheba Saden Jaden Yongzo Yi Ngada Chendo Gongsa Jamgun Gyalwa Tamji Kenjin Sebo Chembu Chogi Kuba Tongdu Rinpoche La Kusum Gucha Date Terin Chilo Nidong Nishu Tsenga Dawa Chungyi Be Tse Sum Lagar Gebe Nyi Sambol Ya Geji Gyalwa Tsangyang Gyatso Shimju Tsongdu Unje Tsegwa Tol Ya Chedu Kyang Chibju Kyang Be Panden Kante Pongchang Chungche Gyabje Yangden Rinpoche Chogi Uyu Be Ken Rinpoche Namba Rinpoche Lengye Gishen Namba Gyamne Gendun Gi Dedang Arunachal ngade chijab lunje kushab pema khandola uyube chepsi gi tujin shebe tujin ulchube lene nambal henge sanne di zombe da chitu gu uyube sanne di tikzu chomi lenge sondu delia chedu jane chibju jambe zamling choda khan pebe sojawa tamsheba deshin mixi kundunje deshin de musu chondole chabe tawang zonda de sakhugi neshu namalenge changmaliya ngaja chondu kodi sojungi ngo chembe thone namalenge changmaliya thoma de chamde test de shui dene chondu ngoshi joje de ta de kundu mangche ji choda khan peba mangbuche ande inge making mangbushara meba yinza and inge tole ya dus shu choba je shui I was so busy for the last 2 months with so many of us working hard to make this conference a reality. And 5 minutes before this actual inauguration, I realized that I haven't put together a speech. So you all have to pardon me and forgive me. I will speak from my heart. I, on the behalf of the organizing committee of the International Conference on the 6th Dalai Lama, extends my heartiest greetings and welcome to Gyalwa Tsangyang Gyatso from Ganden Podang, Sharzekhen Rinpoche, the abbot of Tawang Monastery, Gyalwa Dollar Rinpoche, Padma Shri Gyalwa Guru Rinpoche, Rigyal Hawe Rinpoche, Gyalwa Thupten Kumpe, who is here to represent Devon Loseling Monastery, Kantola, and all the monastic Sangha members. I also extend my deepest greetings to the Honorable Chief Minister, Shri Pema Khandola, our MP sir, and all the district administration officer, and everyone who is here without the need to name each and everyone. I, on the behalf of my organizing committee, extends the heartfelt welcome to all of you for coming to this conference. My heartiest greetings and welcome also goes to all the international speakers who have come from so far away to this remote place. Sometimes when you type in Tawang into the Google, sometimes you cannot even find a proper location. But you all really took so hard to come from different parts of the world to this conference. And I, on the behalf of organizing committee, and on the behalf of everyone here, especially the lovely people of Tawang, extend our heartiest greetings to all of you. And my welcome also goes to all the great esteemed scholars, researchers, practitioners who came from different parts of India, especially from Tibetan exile community, from Dharamsala, from Varanasi, and many, many other places. Thank you so much for coming to this conference. And also to all the participants of this conference. So let me begin with a very simple story. How this big conference that we are hosting and every one of you are attending today came into our life. Exactly about 13 months ago, our most honorable Chief Minister paid a visit to Thupten Chedop Ling Center in a very, very informal meeting, during which I requested Sir and convey him about the importance of the 6th Dalai Lama Gyalwa Tsangyang Gyatso, who was born in Tawang. He was a child born in Tawang and became the great poet, we can say, one of the greatest scholars, and also one of the most realized spiritual practitioners whose fame spread from all parts of Tibet to Mongolia, to China, to all over Asia, and later also to Western world and the Eastern modern academia world. There is no one in the academia world, particularly, who doesn't know Tsangyang Gyatso, the 6th Dalai Lama. Such a true gem and treasure that was born in Tawang, yet the recognition, the respect, the true respect that he deserved, we have not been able to properly offer that to him. So when I explained these things to our Honorable Chief Minister, he became immediately very supportive and told us that we have to do it. And with me, I have never met Moji sir, who is sitting behind the brain and the pillar of this conference. I do not know him. I've never met him. But we became such a great team, and we worked for almost more than a year to bring together this conference. And this conference becomes a reality. And the greatest thanks goes to Moji sir, to you. Thank you so much for all the hard work. That's when the seed for this conference was planted, and we worked hard for the last 13 months to put together. We personally invited all the scholars, contacted them. When we started sending out the official invitation for the conference, we were not that hopeful that this conference will become a reality. Maybe Moji sir, you, and Kaldenla, you also remember, initially we thought to do this only a national conference, inviting 1 or 2 scholars. We never thought of such a grand. But then it is the vision, the kindness of His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama and the 6th Dalai Lama himself who made this conference a reality. So that's why I welcome all of you to this conference, and this is the short beginning of how the conference came to our life. After I completed my Geshe education in Sergei, I got the opportunity to go to Harvard for 2 years. The reason why I wanted to mention it today here, I attended few classes, and my professor, Professor Janet Gyatso, is here. Thank you so much for coming all the way here. And also one of my other professor in the South Asian department, Professor Venterkai, who couldn't come in person, but he will be here in spirit. And as soon as there is a discussion about the 6th Dalai Lama, they are well aware of his legacy and scholarships. And I was stunned how much attention to the 6th Dalai Lama is given all over the world. So that's also a time when I started that we have to do something here. Next, I wanted to explain a little bit about Thubten Shedobling Foundation, which I founded in 2017 with the blessing of His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama. We are an organization that is promoting Buddhist studies in Tawang and social and ethical studies in Tawang, including English and Tibetan language. But the main principal goal of TSF is to make Buddhist studies accessible to everyone in Tawang, not only limited to monastic communities and scholars. So this conference is very important for us. And we worked hard for days and months. And now is the time to offer my sincere thanks to those who made this conference become a reality. And our sincere and the heartiest thanks goes to none other than our Honorable Chief Minister, Shri Pema Khandula, for your kindness, for your guidance and for your support, without which this conference would not be possible. Thank you so much, sir, on behalf of everyone. And I also want to thank our Deputy Commissioner, Madam Namje Omala, and all the departments of yours who has really done a lot to make this conference a reality. Thank you so much, ma'am. And all the members of DOCA, Churik's department, led by Dr. Kaldenla, and all the other members. And there is two special individuals who I wanted to name here in the conference, who had worked so hard from the beginning. They were responsible for writing hundreds of thousands of emails to all the scholars, arranging their transport until the last minute. So they have been the main foundation and the main pillar of this conference. Can I introduce Dr. Shogo Mekata? Can you please rise up? She's here. And Zarina, she's in the third line. Dr. Shogo Mekata is my classmate in Harvard, and Zarina from Sweden. They have been working so hard. Thank you so much from everyone. And then there is hundreds of people working at TSF. Great team led by Moji sir, who put together to make this conference a reality. Thank you so much for everyone. Now, it's the time to think and shed a light about a little bit about 6th Dalai Lama. I won't go into detail who the 6th Dalai Lama is, what are his works. Those things will be discussed in the technical session that will happen from tomorrow. But however, there's enormous amount of poem scholarships on him, which are all scattered all over the world. And until now, I can say there's not a single resource or a collected work that is done on the life and the legacy of 6th Dalai Lama. I was very happy to know that Office of his Dalai Lama has put together a collection of almost 4 volumes, and our own great scholar, Gyalwa Rinpoche, is also coming with another edition dedicating towards the Tsangyang Gyatso. Thank you, and those are great scholarships. And the committee will look deeper into, in collaboration with all the scholars presented here today, and our main goal is to work together to bring a collected work of 6th Dalai Lama into few volumes, whether it will be 6, 7, 8, or whatever. First, drafted that into Tibetan, then we will translate into English, and then into multiple languages. So that will be the main purpose, the mission of this conference, and a great kind of a small offering for the long life of His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama. And this conference is also the part of the 90th birthday celebration of His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama. Therefore, I, on the behalf of all the organizing committee, everyone here, the people of Monyul, that whatever the merits we will accumulate by organization of this conference will go to his long life. And may we pray for the long life, and may His Holiness come back to Tawang again in near future. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Venerable Tulku Tenzin Gyurme Rinpoche. Now, after this, we are going to show a short film on His Holiness the 6th Dalai Lama. And for your information, I would like to tell that this film has been made by Kushagra Kushwaha, an animation filmmaker from Japan. बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। ये जापान से आए हुए एक एनिमेशन फिल्म मेकर है कुशाग्र कुशवाहा जी। उन्होंने परम पावन छठे दलाई लामा के जीवन पर ये एक छोटी सी एनिमेशन फिल्म बनाई है और ये हम सब के लिए बहुत ही सौभाग्य की बात है कि आज माननीय मुख्यमंत्री महोदय जो हमारे बीच विराजमान हैं, उन्होंने इस बात पर विचार किया, गौर किया, जो कि आज से 400 साल, लगभग 400 साल पहले एक ऐसे बुद्धिजीवी जिन्होंने इस पावन भूमि में जन्म लिया, जिनको हम धीरे धीरे वक्त के साथ, समय के साथ भूलते जा रहे थे। ऐसे में आपने ऐसा विचार किया और इस तवांग की भूमि को एक बार फिर सुगंधित करने में जो विचार और जो कार्य आप कर रहे हैं, उसके लिए हम तहे दिल से आपका धन्यवाद करते हैं। एंड नाउ मे आई हैव द ऑनर टू इनवाइट eminent scholar and secretary Ganden Fordang, Venerable Yangten Rinpoche for the keynote address, please.
责任对吧？甘甸普长给冲击杨定人不去确去，相对我村别松懈能就。
토마딜라 데르페베 저지 샤츠키는 무시 다나시 당원김베키는 무시 아니 서진장 중국이 겸백이다 온신 다나시 저진 구름 무시다 저지 라수베 전에 바베긴디지 디당 다나시 ngati lenchi tsebe shongda shongje mayimbe interpebe kunde namba dana shi zambli saja kasakani pebe chekeba dang shinjuba sanglowa dana shi der tsuhan dinalu pebe kunde dang ji suyewe inere tsamulo la kuizi tsangzheshi dili xueyin.
First of all, my heartfelt greeting goes to Sharzakyan Rinpoche, Abbot of Tawang Monastery, Abbot of Jamit Chogyling Monastery, Rinpoche's Sangam members, and special greeting goes to Honorable Chief Minister and all the dignitaries, scholars, researchers that are gathered here all around the world.
Talui Lundi 사단 제변 조용지 만주변 사시 진부 제대 용조 진가다 진도 공사 장애 진부 더 리카와 강진지 더 주도 차베 민당지 미도 강도 보베 하게 파워신에스 미수수宣바 송된 도진zem바 던질레 시네메나 지진장배 강원도상 이시딘 장 수송원지 총원묘디 배서모 상부 시행안에 추억이다 공로 구줄로 폐배 총거 송지 쉬베다 고전 기 로치 차디 요래 디인장 다 신호고서 정해지면 초당 당무에다 주회군에 최당 상시 강기天nin 저와 차베 더 공기 진주바당 소머도와 간제 지역의 이날에 총거 공로 구줄로 배배 총거 당 고된 송지 제고에디 계지무차가 월성도스.
This year is widely celebrated as the 90th birthday celebration of His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama all around the world. Whoever is have connection with His Holiness spiritually, indirect, so any kind of relations that is shared with His Holiness, the true manifestation of our Lokiteshvara, they all celebrated this whole year as the 90th birthday of His Holiness.
다 쇼진의 쇼이나 로만당지 수수수 자유라마 지스 전야당 다 디기 구총배 뒤된지로 수와 근데 가르치와 있나요 표현 봐도 매봐 배나 주다 당시规주기 나로를 친딘의 진도 천당 비시 말이라 개번 봉도 공바 레 라마 기지 temba chukseji sungdos.
So spiritually, if we're speaking, to celebrate one's own teacher, one's guru's birthday, make offering to him, all these kind of activities is considered as a resource, a source of infinite number of accumulations of merits. And in one of the Tantra texts, it is written that for eons and thousands of years, if you make offerings to all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas with their mystical appearances and so forth, even then, just making a simple offering to your own teacher is more auspicious.
시라도 나란수 더 가와 간진바당 가와 강진기 주의 차베 민나의 차선바이나 단대내거라 잠블리 딘첸디 강라 표지내당 지하유버디 아니 공기 투지 같은 경우는 중요해서.
In particular, if we talked about the Tibetan people in exile and all around the world, the auspicious and the positive and the development situations that whatever we are in at this moment, it is all due to the kindness of His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama.
잠블리 지를 차선바 이나양 단대내거라 장리 지기 내당디 쇼만부진의 대바이나 더 차당 당도 랑네 차당기 시원도 주베 딘제기 거치 차디고 그래서 디거수 더 차당 방배 랑다 양다버 되모부 슌너리 잠블리기 지소디 랑니기 체도 더 신 도지 동대 딘제기 내당지 가수다지 무르되도 유대바 무세되고 유대바 딘제기 지소치 차디고래 디네 거수 아니 신기체도 랑니 류 당지지네 딘제기 상류기 가수다 종들게 좀바 슌들이 딘제지기 토네 다 최당 풀의 뒤에 랑되모부 신부지 차디고래스 잠린디 나오다.
If we look at the whole world at a larger point of view, we can see clearly that the whole world is driven by anger, hatred, and so forth. there is always a huge competition among the world about what should we need first. So the self-care or the self-cherishing comes first. This is a self-centered world at the moment. In such a time, there is a great personality, a great being that is born and leading us, who is none other than His Holiness, without being self-care or self-cherishing, but with showing the path of how to care and how to provide help and bring maximum benefit to other people.
다 딘데기 나랑 수기 자일라마 슈네리 두런 니슈 자지원 디다 장리지 덤버 친구 슈네리 디다 고된 송주 슈웨 차셰라 디 차셰라 자오 창란 장주 지진지다 제지기 자오 창란 장수고의 드링기 소신들이지 소요리 디 시라기 된다 덴버리 상규스 디 인장.
And in such a time, we can call His Holiness our root teacher, our guardian. So in such a difficult time, He is the lone leader that shows light and guide us to happiness and liberation and so forth. And to celebrate such a great being's birthday is a great true honor and a privilege for all of us. So that is why this whole year, which is celebrated as the 90th birthday of His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama, to commemorate that and to celebrate that, this conference titled the International Conference on the 6th Dalai Lama, Gyalwa Tsangyang Gyatso, is also organized. And I personally feel that this is a really fitting for the time and something that has a great benefit and meaningful.
달랭기 다 제지랑 신기 총두 친구디 구디 슈킨 나디 숑기 주된 랭강다 다나 신기 두딘시 루린 다나 신기 조바카 신지제 조바카 송기 도네 도스지니 구디 슈에 번다 넘버 2 구디 슈에디 칼스워다 구디 차상와다 차수보다 단두송 판매의 당부신들의 딘데 지진에 된다 계진부지기 살아 아니 딘데기다 구디 자신부지당 평송수와지 낭토에딜라 투지치슈에인스 지시랑 슈규스.
This international conference is put together and organized by 3 organizations largely. The Churik's Effort Doka Department, Tubden Shedrubling, and CCRD. And I can see that a huge expenses, and also not only the financial expenses, but a lot of hard work and great planning, and everything has been went into the organization of this conference. And I can see that the conference is well organized. And so I personally appreciate that this will be a great benefit for all of us.
다이니마 총뒤 기다 낭된단 지지진 지카셰지 슈에긴 베선 슈기 녜게지시에딜라 뒤제 니진지 뒤제디 제가 요 말했은 것도 좀 보시는 게 컨디션 지금 뒤제 좀 보시보다 냥게시에미도 존도그로 상도 가마카시시니 다이나 간 슈주 요버디 슌데 요버디 지 슈투버디 지카시 슈에긴 베선 지기.
And now I would like to speak a little bit about that is something related to the theme of the conference. When I asked organizer about whether is there any time limit for my talk, and the organizer said there is no time limit. So, but I have not much to say, but whatever there is, I wanted to say, I will share here.
다단다 장구지주바 rinjin tsang yang zu guo le shu di gang la ji dang ni da di dan ji ji xin ne jiang wang rin xuan ji yi da ga su re number ta bu shu gu re be da gang de jiao wang rin xuan ji yi da di qu yo re 다 실은 잠불이 지당 양구 수표 강진기 시도 자원인 신 폐지시네 단 제버치네 장배 저종기 로주지요래 디지양 시구의 지당 디네 자원인 신당 다 디콩스라 고르베다 강의 자원인 신당 표 강진은 니 버루라 진저 가르여버디 대지 도나지난 국유에서래
There is a special spiritual connection between the Dalai Lama institution, all the reincarnations of the Dalai Lama from 1st to 14th, and the people of Tibet in particular. But on a larger picture, the whole world by itself and Tibetan plateau in particular, there is a special bond between the Dalai Lama institutions and the Tibetan people. So this picture or the story that lies behind need to be told, and I'm going to share that.
지당내 상지 존린 대지 다 셰 주문이 누디 가시지 나로라 파버시네스다 표 강지머니디 뒤전 뒤지기 저 투모 많이 보여버디 누디 가서 그래 때문에 가보다 안다나 신기 니지 배거다 누디 사마도 고벤도다 안다 주인들다 마모도 세닝이 주인들 누디 조다 숑디소다 안다나 신기 공지지 딘주기 나로라 집어다 뭐 마모지 인세샤베 송 나로라 디세디기도스
If we look at the connection between His Holiness the Dalai Lama, who is the manifestation of the Avalokiteshvara, the Buddha of compassion, who rose or came to this world in human form to benefit the Tibetan people, and the spiritual bond between two, the story actually goes much earlier than that. We need to know. If we look at the sutra itself, from the very mouth of the Lord Buddha himself, we can find in various sutras, such as the White Lotus Sutras, and also in many tantras, where it is clearly written that predicted about His Holiness coming in the form of, for example, Avalokiteshvara, the Buddha of compassion, coming in human form through the reincarnations of Dalai Lama and come to Tibet and to help the Tibetan people. And their spiritual and special bond is clearly written in many of those sutras and texts.
사마도 고wen도기 나로라 딘데지 송도 상제 냥일렌 다케미 거수 다 얘기 무스 니 가수래 다 유튜브에 뒤제티 수제티 조바레스 디 인상 아니 구친 도시 당시 군냥일렌 다에긴 세바디 다 가수래 디 되려 버디 오레스 디 송디 강라 파바시네스 상제 존딘데라 수어다시니 다딘데 군냥일렌 다엔 세번세번이나 마음발라 표 강진이 신디 아니 간데스 지시니 지스 가수래 장구래 표 강진이 신이 뒤제수 간데스 지시니 지스 전국래 디 두켄디 간데스 지오레스 야 간디슈디 강라 딘 뒤에기 개와디 다 상주스마 파바시네스 지랑라 파디오레스 표 강진비 표 강진번 뒤 님부디라 파바시네스 냥지 차디고레 딘 뒤에기 개와디 다 파바시네스나 마도 하나 메디브스르지 딘데다부치 송구도
In one of the sutras are the direct recorded teachings of the Lord Buddha. So in one of the sutras, we find this beautiful story where Lord Buddha, when he was about to go into Mahaparinirvana, in plain language, when he was about to pass away, and he told the gathering of the disciples that in my lifetimes, whatever the disciples or whoever and wherever the disciples and the students they are that needs to be taught or tamed has been all completed. So therefore, I have finished my tasks as a Buddha. Therefore, I am going into Nirvana. And then Avalokiteshvara, who happened to be one of the attendees among them, told the Lord Buddha, you cannot do that. if you do that, how about the people of Tibet? How about the Tibet people of Himalayas? They're all left behind. Who will guide them? At that time, the Lord Buddha clearly stated that that is not my job in plain language. That is your responsibility, you, the Avalokiteshvara, who is none other than the Dalai Lama institutions.
다나 신기 자오 구지 당분이 송디 다 구지 주시 봐도 구지 주송기 봐도 쉬느래 양 구지 당분이 구지 딘베 봐도 딘데기 지러 구이 청어 림버 표버디 디낭장 다 파보시는스 구이 낭주로 임버디 다 가당 리방당 다나 신기 지신 당부 신다 개수수수기 지진 당부 시라고 수수수기 송낭로라 망부지 된것도 디 자원신기 총로 낭들기 당부 고 당부딜 사제딜 더 주시 강인바 도마 간에 배워서 디 송배 콘디 거수다 세우시라 된것도스 그리 주 송배 밖에 낭들 낭로라 시베이나.
If we take a glance at the life story of the Dalai Lamas from the 1st to 13th, we can see very clearly that when they talked about the first topic, which is that from where does all of these Dalai Lamas, who are said to be the manifestations of the Chenrezig, came from? And at that very discussion, this discussion about the Dalai Lama being the manifestation of Avalokiteshvara, and that is recorded in many of the sutras and the texts, is clearly written.
배전자고 또 니 들어라 총바 지 쉬바이나 배나 저지 용서 지장 심부치기 낭다른 나로라 딘디치 쿠엔도 구리 주송바 구마 춘이스 텐시시네다 구마동 샹야디 투딘 케바레 구마동 샹지시네다 구동디 마동 샤베 칸투 샹베 거라다 샤레망 부시라 나고 구동디 가수 동세 나로라 샤시시네 쳤을티스마 쳤세부티스마 된지신다 구동디 신구교로 그래서 딘데기 동서 표지진이 구동 샹베 거라 다 동서 표지지 타마타마디 다 표지를 루지하스 루지다 나오 니송진 고요레 타마타마 동서 만부 표지진에다 구 진버디 도스 가수다 강부차 용거로 주 강도 누교레 다 딘데기 거수 게지기 주버디 강라 신은지 표지 신기자이나 강도 신은지기 구이 난주 구 랑宣的표고 세우시신도스 더 용전 지장을 무지나 제주 용전민人不及第조조的成效 구리 주송배成效 大家人不知道成效讲人不知困难不输的做行囊的人第一下落了用人民人不知道用这样人不知拉输啊这三个故事的人有人他困难不输股东的小区个了等这些我说接送事情呢囊得的用这样人不知让难路的送下去
And I wanted to share one of those marvelous and miraculous stories here. His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama and all the Dalai Lamas usually have special tutors, their teachers who taught them when they were young. And His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama has two teachers, the senior and the younger. So Gyalwa Tsangyang Gyatso has told this story that when the 13th Dalai Lama passed away, his body is decided to be preserved, and so the preservation of the body, it's a long process. It takes about 1.5 years, where all the liquid parts of the body has to be dried and taken out using salts and so forth. So when many of his close disciples were doing this service and into this preservation of the body project, I can call it project, and Tsangyang Rinpoche says that at the time when it was most of the flesh and the liquid part of the body has been dried and only the bone part remains, at the backbone there is a very clear picture of the self-origin or self-emanating of one of the forms of Avalokiteshvara.
다 딘데기 가소래 롱당 다 치마 원서지 딘데기 토네양 지 tumo maimba sangji michawe nangda tinren je yore di ina yang da longi senmang sen di zhou chagyo mares zhou di tenpa tang senjin la da zhuten kari jang mang jang ro tenju ki tuen kari da ngoda juwe gune karin tseyo me da di zhou chadi mares.
If we look at this kind of predictions that we find in sutras about a spiritual being and Rinpoches and lamas coming to this world, usually we can find many texts and so forth where these are pre-recorded that describes the arrival of this lama and so forth. That itself is a great by itself, but that is not the most important thing at the moment. The most important thing that really matters to all of us is what is the benefit and the actual activities that this Lama or the Rinpoche did while he was alive. That is what really matters the most.
Da longzang la jiao ju wei na da di yang niu de cao chao duo longji duan da min dao ni len ji ya longji ne yang lama xira ba ni hi long din la jia ya yang long min dao be de ka yin na yang lama xira ba ji ni ka su re long du duan be long la ngu zi jia la su ba da pyo gi nang lo la yang din de na su ba xin jie yo re.
So in Tibetan Buddhist tradition, we can find that when we come to recognizing a special being, a Rinpoche or Tulku, we often rely on one sources, scriptural sources that is found in the text. But merely relying on a spiritual text and to confirm, that is difficult. One reason is that when it comes to a spiritual special text or a line, there are many ways to interpret that. So the different interpretations of the same text will lead to different descriptions later. And the same explanation of the text that is attributed to one Lama or the being can be also interpreted for many others. So therefore, these two things tells us that merely relying on a scriptural sources is not the most authentic one.
Da ina yang ngui ne chu la nga chu je yong di gang la nga chu chang me nge ber tu da ke len gu ya ke ma le rang ling ji ne dang ji kar yor shu wei na pyo gang jin ji xin du tong mer da pyo ji da chu si ni ji da wu bang di yan du chu yong ji ji ne wu bang da xin du da re ge di ju je mian nang song gi ge cha di yo re去接我松针港部年送的，现在电影的讲了，那去接我松针港部，偏港境的新都，上届是点不通嘛，无主的卡多那样，怕我现在这个贵能不积极的上届个去无主期间呢，那多时间呢，比如确定的新港再进步的，真的是重要的。那巴都偏囊落了的，牛的进步的重些呢，看到上届是点不俺。다 취재 주 거니 주샤버 디 가서 그러다 다 냥스라고 그러게 다 간다 딜라 바체 총치시네 템바 시다르스요레 간다 템바 베트 표간지 신도 타노베 라종가 미기 디 라종기 나사 경이 진짜 미기 통지메 되게 딘제기 내당지 차버레 디 거수 상제지 템바야 냥수 지행기 다 사양 답이 동ken디 다 단대 내걸 쉬어 있는 템바 파르타스 지시네 로 바드르스 지신 러주고 민주 간던 중년 재현 중년기 상지지 템바 답이 동야 도시지 중요래 다 중년 재현 중년디 파버신에서 있고 난준 인버디 누기 나로라 다 양무수 중대버지당 하나最美수를 차디 요레스 타마 단대 내거라 다 별라 다 뒤로 고주와 된대기 거수 시작이다 벼제그 토지지네 양세 친구 중벌에다 단대 내거라 벼제그 차상도 쇼시신 추진이 된기 제거의 용수도 쇼르치시네 내다 신도네다 냐차부 냐차슈 된대기 내당 차요 디거수양 다 벼강진비 권당教당 다 다유미 ro tayo mis la we nare kobe nis la nare da kandar nga su rewa jasa di pe me ma na nyandu shu chi chine dubun dine chi chongbe khatu di la jiao ju sa di da jiao yi xin no bu gu ju shi bu di cha di go res da kong yang ji pa ba xin zi gu yin nang ju din de chi da tuan jin zebe cha ne de ba yin na yang ro din de chi cha yong di gang la pe gang jin be ta gui di pa ba xin zi de ji sin ji di din de gi
If we look from another angle to this spiritual connection between Avalokiteshvara, the Buddha of compassion, and His Holiness the Dalai Lama, the number of reincarnations, we can look at the history of three parts: in the beginning, in the medieval period, and the later or the current period. Tibetan Buddhism flourished in Tibet around 7th to 8th century during the three Dharma kings led by King Songtsen Gampo. And there are numerous indications and the proof which tells us that King Songtsen Gampo is none other than one of the manifestations of Avalokiteshvara. And in the medieval period, Tibet faced a great difficulties in terms of the flourishing of Buddhism. There was even a moment where there is not even a sight of Sangha members, monks and the nuns in their Sangha robes that are not to be seen in Tibet. So Tibet also saw such a dark period where Buddhism almost degenerated in Tibet. Even during that time, the main person who became the main source of revival of Buddhism during that period is Tromden Gyalwa Tsangyang. And Tromden Gyalwa Tsangyang is also clearly proved that he is none other than one of the manifestations of Avalokiteshvara. And then we have the number of the reincarnations of the Dalai Lama from 1st to 13, and who have been the main sole protector, guide, and the leader, father of all the Tibetan people. And even after 1959, when Tibetan people saw such a difficult phase of time, coming into exile and so forth, His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama was, in Tibetan, what we say, the eyes to see and the heart that keeps us alive. So he is the main. So this all tells us that the Avalokiteshvara, to form in different human forms, to benefit and to reveal the strong bond between Tibetan people and Avalokiteshvara.
Diresha, da shirado Gyalwa Tsangyang Gyatso Gordi, Mise Mandangi Shiuji Chayong Gudu, Gyalwa Gutin Rinxuan, Chi Nzeba Xiandang Kasorda, Shinduni Mindawasanare, Mise Gita, Niandang Shiuji Chayong Gudu. So the Dangarang Sugi, Jizu Nanglola, Yongsi, Chadeva, Tudeva, Dishisha Jivaina, Mise Chadigore. She's on the Yinzang, the Gyalwa Tsangyang Gyatso Gordi, Nasu Kandes Chini, Dilla Shinju Chegu Yore, Kandes Chini, Gyalwa Tsangyang Gyatso, Gui number Tabala, the Jegu Yores, to Sang Dang Yudigala, the Jidangni, Nasu Miji, Jidangi mi. Ji inba yinare, da kuigi niandang tila, ji kaso Shinang Sangsong ki niandang ji yongdi yuwarda. Ngaso tumodo gang nang tuya jidang, yang ji tsangme ki nang tuya ma yinbe di ki Gyalwa ki niandang mendawa ji. Yang karasa warda, sangye nesu sila gogorbe da ji dindegi ji rinpa sunda ji, jidangi mi sunda ji yinay di yongu yorwasda.
Among the many reincarnations of the Dalai Lama, so among them, the 6th Dalai Lama, Gyalwa Tsangyang Gyatso, is a special one, is a different one, is a mystical one. So very, very different from the rest of the Dalai Lama. And so how are we going to look at his life story? How are we going to do research on the works of 6th Dalai Lama? That by itself is a great challenge and responsibility. From speaking from another point, there are three different ways or three different ways to look at a person's life story, especially when it comes to someone like Sixth Dalai Lama. One is the outer appearance that can be seen by everyone, ordinary people, what we see, what we experience, what we hear, and based on that, what we judge that person. Second thing is there is something behind that which is much more inner self to that person, which may not be directly revealing to us. That is the second aspect of that great person. And then there's one secret aspect of that person whom none of us know. So when we are going to do research on such a great being, we have to remember that all of these three phases or the spheres of his life has to be taken into account.
Number sanjebe lo la da shisha la risong shagyore tsame jinse ji tong ngun tu chube chuchi ngun song de kan tong tu ji da tong ngun tu ma jun na ya ji ga so re tsima da 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 nang ju la din ne ji ba ku ye gi din de gi shi ji gi rim ji yang ji da da tsima da nang ju gi gu ne ji zhe ba ji ma tu ye gi ji bu tsimi long da kan de nga tsima ba shi le din ne shi gue din de ji ri song song gu yo re si.
In Buddhist philosophical tenets, if we look at the things from Buddhist philosophical way, things or anything that is existing in this world, they are broadly categorized into three broad divisions. So the first thing is what we call evident things, something that we all can see, something that we all can hear, taste, and so forth, that is in front of us, such as the color, shape, or anything that is visible to us. And then there is a second layer of things that are slightly obscure, that may not be directly perceivable for us, but we may have to use reasons and the logics and the science to know that thing. That is the second level of the existent. And then there is a third level, which is completely obscure and super obscure, that needs spiritual ways to understand or to see it.
Number 2, Kuti Tsujone, Shudi Cheshabe, Gyalwa Tsangyang Gyatso, Kasore, Shinju Gita, Logi, Juchati Su, Shudi Cheshabe, Shadi Tujitu, the Kaso Garagita, Tukutsambu, Tindachin Jeson, the Dinang Lolayang, Guishandu, Kanda Gyalwa Tsangyang Gyatso, Jiangwan Gichila, Peshine. 都是南有的讲的卡索的Gyalwa Tsangyang Gyatso Jiangwan gi故意成为了我们密切跟嘎巴家跟说的日记的让Jiangwan gi 固定了个自己的对吧起的跟真这个日你有打算没到有的话的就些的说南路来传的下但现在真这个给这些当那所谓是用过有的 但卡的现在嘛，现在大概工作需要那些，现在那所需要为那样，年当没着，人不送定的穷的给我的，但俺那是我那虽然了，代为呢，这个参谋了推囊的出的区域了，我说代为呢。
I saw in the conference the backgate that is given to me and all the speakers that there is a thick book. Drafted by the organizing committee, which has a collection of different articles, texts, and so forth, and related to the Sixth Dalai Lama. And in one of those texts, it is clearly written that the Sixth Dalai Lama, when the time for his official enthronement came to recognize him as the reincarnation of the 5th Dalai Lama and as the true 6th Dalai Lama, there was two different aspects or different views. The first one is that he is properly recognized and given the due recognition in Tibet. And also there's another way of saying that he was not given the due respect and recognition that he deserved. So whatever the case, there will be many, many ways and angles to look at one thing, but what we really see and what we really experience is the fact.
다 딘데기 쇼니기 다수 민다와 가수 수요와 이날에 양지 가수 그래 꾸이 청와라 원세 마슈키스라고 그러베 딘데기 다수디 가수지 다 쇼치중 가수 유명한 마드베 가수 수요와 이나양 별미망게 생긴 나로라 별지용기 별미망 지차네 상명이 생긴 나로라 양호 구지 주버스라고 니간라 구지 주버人心 参讲是嘛都항상 매대로서시 그 뒤뒤기 장왕기 칠어야跪下비 구지 신다디 다 항상 매망 그 최도 자자연 괴명이 소리시 단데 내가 드는다고지 다 통되기도 있어.
So there are different ways that we can see in the text and also the scholarly works that this is recognized and this is not and so forth. But if we look at what really the fact is that in the hearts of all the Tibetan people, there is no such discriminations. And when people hear or say or experience or think about the 6th Dalai Lama Tsangyang Gyatso, it is common that nobody even doubts or have any kind of doubts regarding that, whether that is the 6th Dalai Lama or not. So that is a common thing that matters most. And also in the common, what should I say, people in Tibet, none of them really understands that there is even such a dispute that existed.
다 단대내 거는 많지베 그 뒤뒤랑기 Gyalwa Tsangyang Gyatso chila shuxin badang shuxin be gausu chi nyuja zazawu chabe di gaugi nedang di zu lai nga su dande gi jujia nang lo yueba nang xin shu mangbu jini dadu gang la da shu gane daya yueba ina nga su dagu yuwa re di nang lo la ji ne zun budu tueba sewu xiu ji di da Gyalwa Tsangyang chila ma pa ya dang dinde gi nedang ji yung di gi yuwa re di gau du du ji yu 라딩기 신간낭 로라 딘사치 문낭송 이너레 라세 미망 임바 이너레 딘데기 토네 지자주 슈당당 가수래 대바 슈당당 가부 제당기 추세디 세시디 할레비 tum부지 공 칠러포는 도스마 딘디슈는 루디강라 다 제본다 타니 사진 인사르디 카를링가스 링가스 딘바링 세이는 링가스도 티친도 도와지 예인지라 아니 라상 강기 마미당 다 강다 Gyalwa Tsangyang Gyatso 가수고 따도지 경기 루카디 라바네 소포 선제기 빈도버수 제본기 같은 부랑의 야슈 도수 쇼베 가라 다 선제 가수 긴든버 편집을 쉬우진 뒤지신다 다상 가시에 그지 망도베 시부지 편집은 뒤지시네 아니 긴든버 뒤 탄지기 나제 당자 샤바레스 장왕 가수를 자원이自己几个месяц 지지네说了嘛都把自己几个месяц 지지네 당 나제 당제 샤버레 지지네 디 군진장 시비 남들 진부 뭐 코로나나 비슷한도 진짜
And this kind of the disagreement or the topic that we're discussing, we're not talking about today's time. Even during that time when Gyalwa Tsangyang Gyatso was enthroned, and there was this issue of when he was dethroned, and I don't remember exactly the name of the place, but somewhere around Drebong and Sera. And when the Hassan Khan and his team and the army came to arrest Gyalwa Tsangyang Gyatso, the monks of the Sera and Drebong came together in full force, in full unity to protect the life of Gyalwa Tsangyang Gyatso. And there's also very clearly, this is listed in the biography of Kunya Jain Shaba, that the monks even took oath and they swear that even if it comes to the life of their own, but they will not hand over the 6th Dalai Lama Gyalwa Tsangyang Gyatso to Lasang Kang.
다 이내양 신앙기 지망보다 아니 라상 강기 마당 디角落了个对对个讲那个民主节约딘데기 봉쇼기 토네 다가 가서 그래 도매기 쇼了마 딘데 쇼고에 폐고에 디 차요레스
But unfortunately, due to that times the power and all the atrocities and so forth. So due to many of those unfortunate reasons, so His Holiness has to be gone to the Domei region of Tibet.
다 이내 양 단대 내거了 나랑去 지조 낭로了 年当 강요 버든 제용 디강了 지당니 상제 파바당 파신 说 당배 낭터 낭로了 통투 진리기 아니 된된的 로나 된된的 제바세 된데긴 제바지 용구요래다로 다 Gyalwa Tsangyang Gyatso 구총 공부 냥엘은 되네 다 하나 루송자 Gyalwa 된데지 차자 요르디 단다이나야 베베 지조다 다 디장의 마세베 자나기 지조다 다 제지기 지조기 코요기 나로라 Gyalwa Tsangyang Gyatso 다 천장 지장 주의된 제 된데기 통도 진리기다 가서 된된된 제기 된데긴 제바지 가서 제 다디
It is said that a great being, merely by his name, can benefit a lot of sentient beings. And this is true with His Holiness the 6th Dalai Lama. So even today, not only in Tibet, but also in China, all the Himalayan regions, and all over the world, the mere name of 6th Dalai Lama Gyalwa Tsangyang Gyatso brings great peace, love, and happiness to millions of people.
다 배전 도도디 쉬니 야사래 다 니에 차라다 총든 들레지를 자고르스 제 송디강라 주저 시부 당시시네 신주기 주체티 수체티 로야마 종디 이내 지에 된데 카시라 간디들 쉬시시네 계제들 용디강라 재민 무시버 된데 계제들 지웨이 자나기 지속이 나로라 Gyalwa Tsangyang Gyatso 따당 간데 요레스 가츠시다 Gyalwa Tsangyang Gyatso 기 첸디 가서래 처치중 수고르베 어디 간다고 지요레스 슈디강라 쿠란 투마 카두디 다 쿠란기 Gyalwa Tsangyang 걸로 칭기도 이내야 가츠시 처치중 여바당 디조랑상 슈에면도 쿠란시 대시 림피인 송고도 디네 니마 카시 니마 지지 니지라 어다디 베 쿠란기 루이랜드 상발레 딘데랑다 요 말의 상수디 자나기 지수 자랑 카라 Gyalwa Tsangyang 구루당 Tsangyang Gyatso는 지 제주당 Tsangyang Gyatso기 다 구치기 낭다던 지 다 시와 나수거든데 베 장가쯤이 되시도스 마세베 자나기 바준 칸텐데 나로라 데 샤데 지인베이나야 데수기 넘버 메다와 바준 가소레 비딩기다 디셈메다와 대기 넘버 메다와 양지 죄자 랑기 토니야 메다와 딘데기 에진메다 하나 잘하스도스 자스도스 장가 단다 유심하디 딘데지 쿠란기 다비강다 딘데지 통연도스 아니 쿠란기 상수라 베벨라마지 나네 자나 나로라 자나기 다 가소그레 투서네 마사슈그레다 메망 트레라 지당기 메망기 트레라 Gyalwa Tsangyang Gyatso 도나 유여바당 인유여바 딘데기 세시 유에되긴데 하나 유에사 말했어 인다 수지 유에사 말했어 Gyalwa Tsangyang Gyatso 디 가서 인다 도나 유여바 낭신지 딘데 차듯이 그래서 딘데 인상 딘주 다 쇼지네 도나 지역이 수수수 딘 주진민다오 요르디 Gyalwa Tsangyang Gyatso 낭터는 이제 양면은 고루루 디주네 뭔가 주베군에 벽이 낭취라 탄일은 누구도 가시에 무슨 벽이 낭취라 도날레 연구도 가시에 무슨 취장 연구도 그래서 딘데기 토네 뭔가 주베군에 가서 그런 루덴 지혜당 생진낭기 생기주라 탑에사면 떠야디 시라기 다 자지 무시우시 다 가서 항상 자치 좀 되는지 요르세기 슈망투에 된대기 자치 무시해서레스
When I am invited to come to this conference, in the short period of time, I couldn't really read or do a lot of research on the 6th Dalai Lama. However, one thing I did was I tried to contact some people within mainland China, tried to get an idea about how popular the 6th Dalai Lama is in China. And when I contacted that individual himself is someone who has some knowledge about the 6th Dalai Lama. But then he said, give me some time, I will do some research and get back to you. And later when he got back to me, he was actually surprised by the amount of interest that are in China, mainland China, regarding the 6th Dalai Lama. For example, his poems, his writings were published by many publications in China. The same book is printed in different copies and different colors and design. So he's extremely popular in China. So ultimately, he concluded that if we talked about the mainland China, the only spiritual Tibetan Buddhist leader that is revered highest and gets the highest respect and attention is none other than the 6th Dalai Lama. So this tells us that his songs and the poems, even though they're in verse form and the song and so forth, they also do immense benefit to the Buddha Dharma in general. Through listening to the poems of 6th Dalai Lama, many people become Buddhist and they practice Buddhism because of that. So that all we can see that all from all these angles, whatever the aspects of, even a small aspects of a great being can be of immense benefit to the whole world.
쇼진의 Gyalwa Tsangyang 다 구지 가사 공루 주시중화 딘데지 칠러 페시시니 디지라 장왕기다 제바종고에 디 가수그래 만장바 지시시네 다 도가지 다 뒤슈기 죄봤으라고 그래 강다르지 다젠 동제로 수바단 딘데긴 지den기 죄발라 운다부지 코르시시네 슈유에서는 딘데지 시행이지 용기요르디 이나양 가서 뒤에 용기요레 상회낭다라 단다 지유되어 디낭로라 제바이나 Gyalwa Tsangyang 다 왕농 저 명아치 다나신기 롱라수바 근데 더 슈에기 머스라고 그래 마녀딘 제용디 간라 Gyalwa Tsangyang 근데 나야기 뒤세자 중아유나 상상스르지 도디 장벌을 진제용디 간라 베나 간주르기 다 미시지 나로라 간주르기 장농 디마니 슈세지나 미지 깔래 가보러 간주 장농 지슈디 간라 농탈라인 다오 지당 지원 다오 송시리 가신 다오 nga 중국 예요래 아니 근데 인상 공기 상연낭的나로라 간주르 장농티마 송슈바당 지디다 타마디 시간 잡지 인사래 간데 니의 시간 근데시 간주 지국이 장농 근데시 쉬샤 디 마인베다 추진 나수가 쉬우지 장가 마부 쉬우지도디 다디 뒤쇠디 왕지 쉬발라 뒤쇠 같이 고고를 시진 가서 진짜 자외이나 대상 자외요로 저디 Gyalwa Tsangyang la ji ukorji ji shuye ge dushe ge chung ayuna kasu chung yuna ro.
And Gyalwa Tsangyang Gyatso, who was enthroned at such a young age of 13 and 14 years old, such a young boy who was enthroned. And then later, he lived a life of common life as a common citizen that is widely known all over the world. But then there is another biography called a secret biography of His Holiness the Tsangyang Gyatso. In the secret biography, we can see that he received the oral transmissions of the 100 volumes of Kangyur 2.5 times. So if I made it clear, in Tibetan Buddhist tradition, there is often a system of receiving the oral transmission where the master reads verbally all through all the pages of a text. And Kangyur, each volume has about 1,000 pages that runs into 100 volumes. Normally, it takes about 4 to 5 months to receive them. And the 6th Dalai Lama received that 3 times. And even also many other initiations and so forth. So if we calculate the time that he spent on these practices that is written in that secret biography, then we get a feeling that His Holiness the 6th Dalai Lama may have no time to do worldly things.
딘데지레샤 다 강더 지당니 라민 넘버 타버디 지당기 루주마오 수기 신주 제당기 랑가디 나네 신주 제주 유대비 내당지 이미 하국민도 로 대바당 이체당 딩인선세당 신乐세당 디수제디 루주기 랑가니 시주여버지 이나미나 간다 다 바딘 다와다베 송기 나로라 디네지요레 지딘레 지딘바니 로 넘버 탄제든 지딘렌데바니 넘버 탄제도 아니 지딘바당 총버지기 말했어야지 디네지 송요레스
And also, I'm not really sure that when we do research or study the life story of a great spiritual being, whether that can be completely done through as a normal research or an academic research could do. In the spiritual beings, the life story, there are often many important things such as blessings, the spiritual connections, and the faith and devotion, and all of those has to be also taken into account. So therefore, I'm not sure about how much a plain, purely non-spiritual connected research could be of benefit to this. And one of the scholars, Palden Dawatagba, he wrote in the text that the one who are beyond this world, their life is not at all connected or related to who are attached to this world.
아니 지딘베 미지 키지지네 지딘렌 대발라 도스 다가침바이나 디다 수수낭신지 통교의지르마도 된오마디 통통교의지 말했어.
And a worldly person with your own worldly eyes can only get a vision or an insight that is judged from your worldly side. You will not be able to get the full and the pure insight that is beyond your eyesight.
레디다 딘두기 루주마오츠 루주시베 가올라 다지 가소거래 당세스라고 그러베 신주 간테스 제고를 루주 간테스 제고를 디 송용데 간라 데데 송구도와 당가랑 루주마오다 말에 안주기 니디리 간라 디 쇼니가 있다고 그랬어. 루쇼다 가쇼니가 있다고 그랬어. 디 마데바이나 무에네스 가르임바디 수순 되베 디지시네 야부지 통도고 말했어. 디 송구도와 디 계지무시라레 레디 쇼지네 딘데기베 신주 쇼니가 니테지시네 다 쇼간에 가수스타에 유베이나레 딘데지기 돈 따디강나 모여내주 지 바추기 차상오당 간다 모여내주의 타 니워지 딘데기 내당지 통토에기 고거디 마오 유베다 셰모고 버레스 다 이나양
I'm not a modern researcher, academician, or a historian, but I heard from others that when you do a proper research, one need to take into account the both stories, the stories from the both sides, and one has to be unbiased. Then only then you can find the true fact. But having said that, there are also a lot of those, what should I say, about a great spiritual person's life that may be beyond those.
남중 가서 츠만낭리 죄디강라 슈르리바 진베 딘데지 송구도와 디 공부 시에 시 띵서부 요래 상구도 지비 제뱅아라 지비 시에뱅아라 나츠마 자원이요 말했어 지 나기 차셰 시라발라 지 된망추어딘데 가 된기 차셰 카셰라 마추어딘데 요한 요르디 이나야 나 리불라 츠마세지 자원이요 말했어 가르슬라나 지부 제뱅하디 지부를 땜버리 지부 목요래 지부 디 차당기 상다 땜버리 차당디 생기랑 신의 슈버리 세상 뒤낭양 나츠마디 연구 말했지 송구도
One of the non-Buddhist school that is found in India in the early times, they have a beautiful saying, is that a person or a human's speech can never be completely accurate or a valid speech. The reason is that human is actually made up of or full of delusions such as anger, hatred, jealousy, and so forth. And whatever they think, whatever words come from their mouth is often contaminated by those thoughts that are behind the person. So therefore, some of the part of the speeches may be correct and unmistaken and true, but the whole speech of an individual human can never be completely accurate.
딘데지레샤 시장디 디조 다 공부시에 요래 상구도 다 창야 장수긴 구루고디 다 타마디 구루규고디 다 구루디 시라 다 망출了 처제 친구시라 이모다 참에 친진바래 나라이네 춘중거라 자오 창야 장수 구루 신다기 하고금에 창야 장수긴 구루 임바양 시기에 디 창야 장수 구루 레스 지진 아주 롱배 나로라 시 우주의 징에게 만중이네 부즈 칸나로라 나조당 나지서디 다 리당 가수를 리당기다 사대와디다 타니 부차디 거래 세상 딘데기 차니이나 샤디 총총 가부 휴쟁알래야다 타리 장라민들 리당권의 내용세디 디 자와 개상 장수 총야디리스 롱도 리당기 리당 견배기 상다랑들이 딜로 총야기 론데리스 딩고루디 구디유스 다 딘데기 처침부지 차디 거래 다나생긴 고루기 신 고루 신다디 수제 처침부 시라를 다 드시양 자당 시수 다 두나 내용디 간라 드시 자당 나버 나수 버치린도
So my last part of the talk is on the poem or the songs of the 6th Dalai Lama. And myself I'm born in Litang, the part of Tibet. And even when I was young in the monastery, I didn't even realize that this poem, this verse, were actually of 6th Dalai Lama. Nobody even explained to us that this verse and the poem were actually of 6th Dalai Lama. But many popular verses, particularly the one which says, "Oh, white crane, lend me your wings. I will come back after making a round trip." Round trip is a modern word. Round trip to Litang. So, so this is such a famous poem, and so forth. There are many other verses which are not even, which I didn't even realize they were actually belonging to 6th Dalai Lama.
다 창야 장수 구루디기 가르 송교였어. 다 지당기 지den기 가서다. 침보 풍무기 저어지 송교어레베 양디기 된다 신다지 넘버 디제 디 겨로네 거두디기 표기 지속이 년당데 송교어레베 양나 디기 넘버 디 지든 가서다. 지든 신배기 당디제 넘버디 디제 디기 자종디 다 춘량랭기 림버디 송교어베 가르 송교어레스 디 민다오 용구도아.
And so what are the poems of the 6th Dalai Lama really explains or show us? Are they merely the romantic bond between the young people, or physically they may be talking about romantic things, but behind that it may be talking about the political situation of Tibet at that time? Is that so? That is a question. Or at the behind scene, was it something much more than that, which talks about the spiritual things? So this is a question mark.
다 모여내 수라 남준 다 비차워지 임바이나 용다리 신유지긴지나 배치를 투주 요래 상것도 스만난데기 나로라 지 다세 다드버세 다세다 다세 로 주식이 다세 디주제디기 죄제 가르때 만든세 디라 지당기 차네 그 죄제 니버진세 주요디 이나야 넘버 탄제된 니버 요 말이스 다세디 준되지 지선 로르마도 크기 된디 센디장의 니버세 자원이 요 말이스现在的인상 상제 중딩되게 송기 나로라야 지된 나로라 자베 신도 마르 가소래 다시 서고래다 마르기 찌든데 베지 땅지지네 아니 신도 마다베 된서 못된데 된야 디 누이거스야 동안이기 나로라 누이거스야 나서버지오래다.
If you are a Buddhist philosopher, someone who has some understanding of Buddhist Buddhist scholar, or you are a researcher, you will know that when it comes to what we call word or phrase, the sound, so this word, they carry a meaning behind that. But the meaning is not always what the sound actually carries. So it always depends on the person who is behind the person that speaks, and his intention really defines the meaning of the actual word. For example, even the Lord Buddha himself, if you look into his sutras, there are also various examples of these things. For example, using very common and harsh words, but behind that there is a huge different meaning. For example, one of the sutras that is instructed to Angulimala is that the fathers and the mothers are to be killed. So the very direct meaning actually tells that your parents are to be killed, but behind that lies a much, much deeper meaning, which is totally different from the word itself.
아니 나기 거수다 딜레장 나기 자유주 베나 베상원들이 자주다고실 차츠가 있는 자준 지용디 강라 잡아나지 지 다이 다트벤 주당디 시샤 제신의 디지비투네 넘버 탕제든 지투고 말했은 제요 말했어 디 타주 취시군인 지구구리스 배된당 아니 예된당 지된당 타투기 된라 소바당 딘데지진이 다 강들 지디 나로라 레세 디기 서디라 마레세기 지기투네 레세기 된다디 된라 라소바 다 강다 가소리 잡아나라 자원의 마자베 다티수 비제 당내 전성무디수 된되는 연구도시에서 디수리 디차되기도.
The one that we just described is actually comes from what we call the logics or the Pramana Sutra part. But when it comes to the higher, that is the Tantra, particularly among them, Guhya Samaja Tantra, which is one of the highest, most secret Tantra practice text, it says that when it comes to explain and understand certain words or the phrases of the root Tantra text, we cannot rely on the word and the meaning that tells us itself. It needs to be investigated from 6 different sides, 4 different ways, and so many other ways to try to get the exact meaning of this word. For example, sometimes the mere word yes can actually mean no, and the no can mean yes, and so forth.
다 강데 야와 창의 장수 슈디 tumbo강의 슈지진에 취체니 자진부 도스나야디 용자도네 네네네 넘버세디 매번다 다 이나야 슈디 tumbo강의 슈네 취자진부디 마남바 이나야 넘버 신다지기 토네 취자진부 슈디네 송야지 용유에다 매다 디양 가수에 공부시고야지 구인난좀민다의 토네 취자진부 송야 다나시 나기 난주민다오지기 토니 용다기 취낭당기 넘버디 마인버지기 토니 취자치무 송야 다나시 지 투러 지 공용디강의 취된당기 심버디 넘버 베드민다오지기 토니 취자치무 송야 된대지 가수그래 넘버 2나 지 낭주에 되버디 상제중된데 라니긴 두기 나로라 베나 니지 베마가분도 나로라 세우슈시 된기도 안상제기 총력이 낭다디수 나로라양 딘데기 배천기 낭다 하장기 마부도 베나 지세제보저가 뒤에 카도라 상제기 제가 간대진 제네 딘디어 제바 그래서 디다비기 중딘데 마부도라 다 뒤수면상 담부치와 있는 배천디 슈에인디 다디 슈그미스
The Gyalwa Tsangyang Gyatso, of course, they didn't give teaching like other Dalai Lamas or the great master by sitting on a high throne, but he might have done the same teachings through a different aspect and different manner. That is something which we have to think. So when it comes to giving teaching, it can be done through different aspects, different physical aspects, different speech, and so forth. Even if you look at the Lord Buddha himself, in one of his manifestations, not really manifestation, but in order to give teaching to one particular musician, a king at that time, who was full of pride, Lord Buddha himself take the form of another musician to tame that person. So that is a different physical form that is taking and doing the job of giving teaching. That can be seen, the same can be applied to the 6th Dalai Lama as well.
다 타동티라 간들 잠불린디 가츠기 가소래 처베 사딜라 다 장왕기 챙기 처디고래 장왕기 챙기 같이살라 자와 찬양장수기 챙기 처디고래 장왕 찬양기 챙기 같이살라 콩라 도나당 디주네 뭐도 주베군에 다 가수고래 다 타버도 단지 진비 쇼라 야지 가 쇼시시네 로야기 딘데기 넘버치 제두스现在딘데 인상 다 단데네 거가 단데 넘버 주기 롬바 메이가레 제무중스 자이송스 베종지 로 베유 제무중스 송송 오 롬반디 나로네 충베 잠블리 용스 차데베 다 딘데기 지부지 페요레 다디 콩 자와 찬양수 차디고레 다디 넘버 주기 롬반디 이머레 그래서 다돈 딘데지를 샤이 두지.
And so I wanted to conclude with the thing saying that wherever the earth or the world spreads, the fame and the teachings of the His Holiness the Dalai Lama reaches. And wherever the Dalai Lama's teaching reaches, the Gyalwa Tsangyang Gyatso's teaching and the fame also reaches, which is a great source of benefit and happiness for everyone. And Tawang, which is known as the secret hidden paradise, from here a child is born whose fame spread to all over the world. And I will conclude here. Thank you.
반덴 간덴 부장기 중지 양딩 르부치 촤라 토제낭 슈주탕 디네 지리 제바 로 셰바 로덴 남리라네 gyalwa tsangyang gyatso tuebe gushe pyelam shugyu.
Thank you very much, Venerable Yangten Rinpoche. And after this, I would like to request a famous opera singer, Loten Namlingla, who has been visiting Tawang for last many years, and this time especially for this program. Loten Namlingla, please, I'd like to welcome you on the stage, and he is going to perform a homage to His Holiness the 6th Dalai Lama.
This is the sound of the cuckoo, kuyuk. So, have you seen the film Wisdom of Happiness by His Holiness Dalai Lama? In the beginning, His Holiness says, take a deep breath and let it go. That's how the film begins. Most Honorable Chief Minister Bima Khandula and Deputy Minister Yangten Rinpoche, and there are so many amazing, especially the people of Mönpa. I'm so happy to be here, and since I have come here to sing, I just want to, before I sing, I want to say something. This is very important. When I was a little boy, in our school syllabus, there's this book, My Land and My People. And in that book, there's a picture of His Holiness standing with 4 or 5 members in front of the Korsam children. So when I saw this picture, I fell in love with this amazing moment. And I had this deep, deep wish. I can really say this. I'm not just saying this to impress you, but I had this deep wish. I remember that if I can ever one day go to this place and to meet the people. And today I'm here in front of amazing people and amazing
Mun Yul. I received a call from Modi ji, and he told me, Lodena, please write something about not just the songs of His Holiness Dalai Lama, the 6th Dalai Lama, but also your first experience. So this song is particularly about that, and I hope you will enjoy it. And I'm so honored. I'm a little bit nervous. Nam le sa chu pe son nga da cham pa the le sim le beau lançon. Sixth Dalai Gyatso, Shabso la kebe tamsang, tebe yiwang la chosung, tebe yiwang la chosung. Chungdu korsan yinbe, yendu yinbe tamsang. Chushi lewa dendel zomba la shesum, dendel zomba la shesum. Munsha munche yune ser sheje na samchu, nire la tam sang shane menu chola kui. Chola pi tang kar bu shin min yu ling la ding du sa ya la ja su min yu la yu le ja ze ba sa ya la ja su min yu la yu le ja ze ba. Tuki jere sigi, menchu gemba sigi, tuki chimbe ngane, jabla chaksha nangso, menba, ha jalo, It gets stuck.
Loden namla thojen nang ti je ge zerin gubati Arunachal nga ti jijob lunjin kusho pema khantu chwaki rige lawe chokju chwaki zenangwe Gyalwa Tsangyang Gyatso sungpung gi nang thung thang ju che ze xie Gyalwa Tsangyang Gyatso la denbe dongchu bu zu ki gor xie be zamchu ochi nang ju.
Well, thank you very much, Lobsang Tenzin Namgyalwa, for that beautiful performance. Now, after this, a beautiful book will be released by Honorable Chief Minister of Arunachal Pradesh, and for that, I would like to request Venerable Gyalwa Rinpoche to please come on the stage, because he has written this book exploring the collected works of Gyalwa Tsangyang Gyatso and newly composed Tongchö and Gyalwa Tsangyang Gyatso. Venerable Gyalwa Rinpoche, please come on the stage. And for your information, this is the collected works of Gyalwa Tsangyang Gyatso. Next year, that is in the year 2026, Venerable Rinpoche will be bringing out this book in English version. And in that book, many of the writings of Gyalwa Tsangyang Gyatso himself will be included. Rinpoche's book, maybe please bring that book. Rinpoche's some now depchit rot nas dozo. Because we are in shortage of time, so without wasting much of our time, I would like to request Honorable Chief Minister, sir, to please address the gathering before releasing the book, please.
Arunachal jijob lunjin kusho pema khantu chwaki chongdu ochi tang zhiwe sungxie nang ju.
Lanyi sangmashe tashi dilani juyu. Dadish adang monlum Tawang terchamunu da utsu international conference nyoso this nadak now you name marsu that this nada jondi atambasi kame also godi sudumbur the so that was international conference also Tawang sukkuidong yumzen chiti dotna dangku organizing committee ko chairman tenyu rumchilasi itang bagam basi der chamnu dajebiya nang da usu also sukoso yumzen chiti minangda da Tawang nyoso minangda rikshungwe namna nombur choye minang namadak nombur da sajidi khona saji der chamnu namadak nombur 신들의 idle laksho da Gyalwa Tsangyang Gyatso nyojiti atang mon Tawang thungunye da tomet te khonen da jik tometin yoyorde ge nombur 신들의 우 동우소 아당바시 구둔디 캡다 약대우 노남 좀링나의 우조 Gyalwa Tsangyang Gyatso Tawang 먼루바 퉁우니에 가제삭간우 노남 이 민욱 가당 Gyalwa Tsangyang Gyatso 룩규르주당 구둔디 노남 이주코르다 우스 인터내셔널 컨퍼런스 오조 수굴라 수고이당 윰전지디 이쪽을라디 임불 다음에나 망부가 다음에나 우스 인터내셔널 컨퍼런스 오조 숙삭 주고 다 도나 텐유르미슬라시 나고 플리랑 임불 다 이제 주국미나다 이스 가보고 기답비에 퍼블리셔 임불 볼륨 나간나가 조건라디 수임불 이 작불에 이 할입니다. 다트 삭제 official version 하당 그 Sixth Dalai Lama 그 기답 말합다 나간나가 베나 볼륨 나간나가디 레임불 있다 할입디 official recognition 할입디 덥직 동아 다 우스 컨퍼런스 오조 arrange라디 야dum불 다 디스 우스 컨퍼런스 가면나 attend 약간 이당 하이나이 오조 진약티 비치기 엑스를 펩간네 수랑디 nom불 이 미누타와당 야가르게 메나다 비 research scholars 한예 오조 수랑디 오조 펩낭고 nom불 다 노골톨 다 오조 아당 그 텐유름체 베낭 오조 institution ka odo dan alang sunna evening sak kapo odo da sessions various sessions number eminent speakers nang adang break yar pebu number birbasi da odo kalap na ember bedak bedak viewpoint Sixth Dalai Lama korje imbur dai chapale da jumzen jidi ni tangthi tang so jume da dasak mena da Sixth Dalai Lama kor da kidape turang di number Sixth Dalai Lama nyoje da benak message der chamon mysterious thap di number da 이제 다음에나 나간다가 담에 nombur다 이 잡을에다 강제다 우스 가보 인터내셔널 컨퍼런스 오게다 디스커션 디야에 강제 담에다 시티 다 broad understanding 디다 구둔디 노남 가야가 여고남 이스다메나 할림디 죽틱 실라디 임불 잇 민누쿠 따와당다 His Holiness Institution 다메나 아당고 14th Dalai Lama 다다 Gyalwa Tsangyang Gyatso 다다 오조메나 아당 14th Dalai Lama 임불 잇 민누다 아당 monnupunin 아당고 His Holiness 아당 베낙 institution 뎁가 아당 monnupunang 메나다 나낙 촌나 아당 덤지 남나라지 nom불 사운 Tawang 간는 남겔 하세 건부소 메나다 군눈 아버지기 감메 메나 오조다 쟁고서 김전지티 가보스 히누 nom불 군는 that Sixth Dalai Lama 지 아당 monlum바 퉁우 김불 잇 민누고 다 메나 14th Dalai Lama 보드 바니에 마르핍 고사지 아당 monlu부다 제다 마르핍부드 임불 That also significance the number or the geopolitical significance number which on international conference jiti ata monlubuga tsukkoidong gyumzan jiti sinyengine that so ta menang da irba kabosi kanu kinuchikta imbul ta menang yomisi dercha munum menang thi jsolin yadumeda ta i제 adang ko His Holiness kako da shukbu menang kewejiti yominae ta chönyo tapdiya 이 작불에 이 지금 일그림에다 미니오래 이제 다음에는 His Holiness 고 비낭다 액세스 고이당디 넘버 이제 시스템 된 넘버 가는 포당 고 미나 시스템 라디 넘버 이 시스템 짓미나에다 오조 폴로야 예 게미나다 빌하냐나 technical sessions ka minati na imbur it bajida ngabo gajeja zumlinga city keta thoing siya imbur mahapoka da usu Gyalwa Tsangyang Gyatso conference ki monlumpa mena dercha munu namada pore imbur it minuku da Sixth Dalai Lama korim Himalayan belt ka ni jugosuwa it minu zumling gampo ka dercha munu keta ge it rebeladi no a very good afternoon ladies and gentlemen. I hope distinguished guests who have come here from within the country and abroad, you must have understood what I said. Obviously, it was a joke. So I'm very honored to be amongst you all and to speak before you regarding this inaugural function of the first of its kind the International Conference on Cultural and Historical Significance of His Holiness, the 6th Dalai Lama Gyalwa Tsangyang Gyatso. And most respectfully, Venerable Rinpoche, all the monastic members, distinguished guests, and honored scholars, and friends from across the globe, and my dear media friends. Firstly, I would like to extend a warm welcome to my beautiful state, Arunachal Pradesh, and that too in Tawang, which carries a very significant historical relationship with the institution of His Holiness, the Dalai Lama. We are all gathered here to deliberate on various aspects of life of 6th Dalai Lama, which is very much least known to the rest of the world. So firstly, I must extend my heartfelt thanks to our chairman, organizing chairman, Reverend Rinpoche Tengyur Rinpoche, and his all executive members for holding such a beautiful event here in Tawang. It is very wonderfully managed. And also I must compliment my dear friend, Mr. Moji Riva, for his hard work and for his dedication to make this event a very success. So Tawang, as you all know, is not just about the tranquil homes of monasteries and faith, but it also is the esteemed birthplace of the 6th Dalai Lama, His Holiness Tsangyang Gyatso. The sacred connection endows this conference with greater meaning as we gather here to reflect upon a towering figure whose extraordinary life traversed the realms of spirituality, poetry, and turbulent political drama. Born in 1683, His Holiness Tsangyang Gyatso stands as an enigma in the tapestry of Monpa history. Unlike his predecessors, he chose the path less traveled, a life marked with profound spiritual insight, intertwined with deep human longing. Many have viewed his reign through the lens of paradox, a monk who penned love songs, a leader who lived in the middle of a political storm, a visionary who vibrantly bridged the aesthetic and the metaphysical. Now, what sets the 6th Dalai Lama apart is not only his lyrical geniuses, as attested in his immortal verses that echoes with longing, impermanence, and love, but also his embodiment of the inherently human aspects of spiritual leadership. His poetry inscribed across generations, crossed cultural boundaries, distilling the essence of Buddhist philosophy into everyday emotions of joy, loss, and hope. Who does not recall the verses, as was mentioned by our Reverend Yangte Rinpoche, and I quote, "White crane, lend me your wings. I will not fly far from Lithang. I shall return," I unquote. So even these days, 6th Dalai Lama's verses continues to connect the Himalayan regions with the wider world, forming a bridge between traditions and modernity. The cultural significance of His Holiness Tsangyang Gyatso is immense, particularly for the people of Arunachal Pradesh and the entire Himalayan belt. And yet, we look around us, we do not see the vibrancy of his legacy in the land of his birth. Yes, we are a little aware of his life and the songs that he has written, but the community in general, even today, is not significantly aware of the historical significance of the life of Tsangyang Gyatso, nor much of the cultural and literary legacy he has left behind. 6th Dalai Lama, His Holiness Tsangyang Gyatso, is also regarded as one of the greatest of the Tantric in Tibetan history. Scholars often speak of his poems not only as epic song of love and longing, but as tantric verses with profound yet hidden meanings which only the accomplished masters of Tantrism can interpret. Often blending the sacred and profound, his collected works are not only widely celebrated in Tibetan culture, but also widely translated and studied. His disappearance and death are mirrored with mystery. The official sources say he died in 1706, but some accounts suggest that he lived a secret life for another 40 years and even visited his birthplace, the Mondul. The undisputed fact, however, is that the son of Monyul, who was chosen as the reincarnation of the highest office in Tibet, still reigns the heart of millions as one of the most legendary Dalai Lamas. Seen in the backdrop, this conference brings many possibilities. It brings the possibilities of knowing more about his life, of the Sixth Dalai Lama. It brings up the possibilities of us better understanding the political and historical turbulent times he lived in. It brings up the possibilities of getting to know more about his songs, the literary and the spiritual context in which they were composed. And most importantly, it gives us the opportunity to understand and better appreciation the institution of Dalai Lama and what it means across the Himalayan region and world as a whole. The impact of this conference will not only be confined to academic pursuits, but will also traverse across cultures, across boundaries, and more importantly, in the whole realm of spirituality, particularly of the Buddhist practice of the Nalanda tradition. As we gathered here in Tawang, let us remember His Holiness Tsangyang Gyatso for what he truly was, an immortal bridge between worlds, a poet, a voice of gentle humanity in the cacophony of his age. May his legacy guide us as we search for harmony, wisdom, and understanding in our own certain times. I once again take this opportunity to welcome all the delegates participating in this conference, both from within the country and also from the foreign countries. I also convey my best wishes to all the speakers and hope that the knowledge shared by them will go a long way in enriching the world to the cultural and historical significance of the Sixth Dalai Lama. I pray for the grand success of this conference. May the wisdom of Sixth Dalai Lama illuminate our heart and guide our journey ahead. Tashidile, thank you. Jai Hind, Jai Arunachal.
Thank you very much, our most dynamic Honorable Chief Minister, Shriman Pema Khandoji, for the beautiful inaugural address. Now I'd like to request you to kindly release the book, which has been written by Venerable Dr. Gyalwa Rinpoche, exploring the collected works of Gyalwa Tsangyang Gyatso and the newly composed Tongchue of Gyalwa Tsangyang Gyatso. And as I informed you earlier, next year, which is not very far, Venerable Rinpoche will be releasing another book on the life of His Holiness the Sixth Dalai Lama Tsangyang Gyatso. And in that book, Rinpoche told me that the writings of Gyalwa Tsangyang Gyatso himself will be included. Thank you very much. ये परम पावन छठे दलाई लामा के जीवन पर आधारित एक पुस्तक जो कि पूज्य डॉक्टर gyalwa रिम्पोचे ने इस पुस्तक को लिखे हैं और निकट भविष्य में बल्कि आने वाले वर्ष बताया जा रहा है कि एक अंग्रेजी में परम पावन छठे दलाई लामा स्वयं द्वारा लिखे गए कुछ जो महत्वपूर्ण दस्तावेज हैं उनको भी शामिल करते हुए एक पुस्तक अंग्रेजी में जिसका विमोचन यथासंभव हम लोग इसी मंच से करने की कोशिश करेंगे. बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद. एंड आफ्टर दिस नाउ आई वुड लाइक टू रिक्वेस्ट द आर्टिस्ट्स ऑफ मोनपा इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ परफॉर्मिंग आर्ट्स to please come on the stage and present the homage, a musical performance through which they will pay their homage to His Holiness the Sixth Dalai Lama Tsangyang Gyatso.
When Dyoga Chobane Gyalwa Tsangyang Gyatso Dube Chepsi Bulam Shuju.
Hello. So that was a beautiful performance. Sharcho Rivo Tsela Karsung Tawashe. And these lines are taken from the poems of His Holiness the Sixth Dalai Lama. Thank you very much for that beautiful performance by Monpa Institute of Performing Arts. Now, I would like to request Director, Department of Karmic and Adhyatmic Affairs, Shri Thupten Kaldenla, for the closing remarks.
문두가 척배 청민남라 터지나 쇼기 디지기 레림티 어루나지앙아티 숑기 추릴 행강기 녜든바 구셔 투된 게된 라기 토지치 숭시 능주
Tsangyang Gyatso Sowa Dev Soshende Lundrupsho. I pray that the wishes of His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama be fulfilled spontaneously without any hindrance. With these as my pre-aspirations, may I now pay homage to Venerable Yangten Rinpoche, who is representing the office of His Holiness the Dalai Lama in Dharamsala and the Abbot Gandhi Shatse Monastery, Rangjung Neljur Khandula, and other Tulku Rinpoches, Geshe Lakdorla, Director LTWA Dharamsala, and other monastic members, both monks and nuns, who are present here amongst us. And most respected Honorable Chief Minister, Government of Arunachal Pradesh, Sri Pema Khandula, and other political leaders who are present here, senior government officers, and most of all, both the foreign and national eminent scholars who have come here all the way for the conference, media friends, and ladies and gentlemen. This maiden international conference on the culture and historical significance of His Holiness the 6th Dalai Lama, Gyalwa Tsangyang Gyatso, or the Monpa Dalai Lama, has been a dream for the people of Monyul, particularly the people of Tawang, for a long time. I, for myself, even can't believe my eyes that today, here we have a galaxy of eminent scholars, both from India and abroad, who are very famous historians, researchers on the life story of 6th Dalai Lama in many renowned universities and institutions across the world. We are so fortunate and blessed today to have this dream come true finally in such magnanimity. Although there are many individuals who have worked very, very hard for this conference to come into being, but the most important was our Honorable Chief Minister, Sri Pema Khandula, without whose effort this conference might not have seen the day. Therefore, we all the workers under him for this conference are so grateful to him for contributing wholeheartedly, be it resource-wise, be it approach-wise, be it guidance-wise. For everything, we could rely on him. And we are so equally grateful to all the delegates who have come here in different capacities and positions despite many difficulties they faced. Without them, this maiden conference would have been just like any other conference. In fact, this is going to be an extraordinary conference or a unique conference in many ways that we will see in days to come, and I'm absolutely sure about it. Now, on the little sad parts, as we know that although the 6th Dalai Lama, Gyalwa Tsangyang Gyatso, was born in 1683 in Tawang, nearly 343 years ago, but in his own birthplace today in Tawang, Arunachal Pradesh, India, there is not much of activity or importance paid relating to him as compared to in Tibet, in Mongolia, in China, and now even in the Western world. In these countries, the gurlus or the Dharma songs composed by him are so popular that they sing every now and then and everywhere. And people take a lot of interest in the life story, be it the conventional biography or the hidden biography. Under such circumstances, to me, it only reminds me one of his gurlu or the Dharma song that goes as Norbu Rangla Yudi Norbi Nornya Mache Norbu Shen La Shurdi Ninglong Te La Tansong. The meaning is, when the gem was with you, you did not understand its value. But when others have the same gem, you start regretting. In this way, the 6th Dalai Lama, Gyalwa Tsangyang Gyatso, had already predicted what was going to happen in Tawang in future and gave us, the Monpas, a lesson then. Unfortunately, we did not understand it. But now, after this conference, I am fully confident that our younger generations will surely take interest in the history related to 6th Dalai Lama in particular, and they will take interest in the Dalai Lama institution, and thereby they will surely pay attention in the wishes and advices of His Holiness the Great 14th Dalai Lama. We, the people of Tawang, sincerely and wholeheartedly remember the statement given by His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama on 2nd July this year from Dharamsala that the Dalai Lama institution will remain, and the Ganden Photang Trust, the office of the His Holiness Dalai Lama, will be the sole authority in recognizing the future reincarnations of Dalai Lama, and no one else has such authority. We, the people, Monpa people, also remember the advice given by His Holiness the Dalai Lama in Leh Ladakh this year on 12th July that in the future the people of Himalayan region should take up the responsibilities in maintaining the Buddha Dharma, particularly the Nalanda tradition, Bögi Nangde. And for that, we assure you here today that we will follow and abide the valuable advices of His Holiness the Great 14th Dalai Lama. Lastly, I want to remind you that we have technical sessions of the conference from tomorrow onwards at Thupten Shertling Foundation in Tsangyang Gyatso Hall, which is around 2 kilometers away from here on 4th, 5th, until 6th lunchtime. And on 6th afternoon, we have valedictory program here in Kalaongpo Hall. Till then, thank you very much, everyone, and Tujiche.
Thank you very much, the most respected Director, Department of Karmic and Adhyatmic Affairs, Shriman Thupten Kaldanla. Now I would like to request the artists from Dharamshala, especially the Tibetan Institute of Performing Arts, to please come on the stage to give homage to the 6th Dalai Lama through their musical performance. But before that, I would like to inform you all that TIPA, the Tibetan Institute of Performing Arts, which has been formed after the Chinese occupation of Tibet in 1959 by His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama, to safeguard the cultural treasures of Tibet. And for more than 65 years, TIPA has remained dedicated to this vision. And as of now, we have a very good and a cordial relation with TIPA, and many of our artists from Monpa Institute of Performing Arts are being trained and have been trained by the Tibetan Institute of Performing Arts. And the present program which they are going to present right now is known as Nangma, or the Nangma tradition of Tibetan song and dance, which emerged in the 17th century as refined entertainment in noble courts of old Lhasa.
Kushe Tuden Getela Tochena, Tine Puji Duga Chokbe, Gyalwa Tsangyang Gyatso, Dube, Chepshe Bilangshu, Tine Chapdunka, Dotang Udushina, Tanguti Kalawambu Namta Tang, Tine Chadi Tung Tung Kamu, Shokze Ngala Yatang, Tangri, Yangla Mapu, Lidan Kune, Libi Ushube, Gulu Nebishugutu, Tine Namatala Shiba, Natala Shibe, Sheti the Mutushubina, Tashi Dumre Nangdo, Halumi Do Chungsha, Ngatu Sibamaye, Nikung, Jangja Pursues. 这是东镇南都哈律没到中国学的，叫我堂家参家族桥5年龄了，古当别这是对这三部堂，人工俺这西北嘛也，当人工张家拍送学的，要俺把桥姑娘来带把堂参家族桥，古样式专门了，我只学为三张讲话的推荐多，感觉你点个 소나 춘백이 망주기 시에지를 돌 더제나
Samalo tasle tambutleya naranzol hamu namdar kepokala wangbegi namda spishoji paji lama namla chatselo yangsong kunsho sumla sewade
Kuriche Tuchenang, the artist of Tibetan Institute of Performing Arts. और जैसे कि थोड़ी देर पहले यहाँ पर डायरेक्टर चुस्रिक विभाग ने आप लोगों को बताया है कि कल से जो तकनीकी सत्र है वो थुप्तेन शेरुपलुंग में आयोजित किए जा रहे हैं। तो इसमें जिन्होंने पंजीकरण नहीं करवाया है तो वो आप वहाँ पर जाकर अपने आप को पंजीकरण करवा सकते हैं। और जो एक बहुत ही खूबसूरत जो इतिहास आज से लगभग 400 साल पहले एक ऐसे सिद्ध पुरुष, एक बुद्धिजीवी जिन्होंने इस मॉड्यूल में अवतारित हुए थे, जन्म लिए थे, उनके जीवन पर अगर आप और ज़्यादा विस्तार से जानकारी लेना चाहते हैं तो ज़रूर इस तकनीकी सत्र में आपको शामिल होनी चाहिए। एंड विद दिस आई वुड लाइक टू रिक्वेस्ट ऑल द वेनरेबल रिम्पोचेस एंड डिग्निटरीज टू प्लीज कम ऑन द स्टेज फॉर पिक्चर्स। और यहाँ ये भी बताना चाहूँगा कि जैसे कि ग्यावा त्सांग्यांग ग्यात्सो यानी कि जो ब्रह्मकोश के जो धारक है, जिसके अंदर ब्रह्मा के सम्मान जो ज्ञान है, उसके जीवन के बारे में, जो इस तवांग में अवतारित हुए थे, उसके बारे में अगर आप और अधिक जानकारी लेना चाहते हैं तो कल से तकनीकी सत्र में आप ज़रूर शामिल होइएगा। और इस बीच वंस अगेन आई वुड लाइक टू रिक्वेस्ट द वेनरेबल रिम्पोचेस एंड डिग्निटरीज टू प्लीज कम ऑन द स्टेज फॉर अ पिक्चर प्लीज।
Kuntuintang Chokjawan Nyamba Junjudan Tine Tirinki Geji Gyalwa Tsangyang Gyatso Shibju Chontu Shibe Chontu Uji Zego Yongsu Chubayi Tujenang.
Shia